Hi everyone, it's Lisa. Again, we're doing a little short craft of using items that you have at home. We hope you're healthy. And so let's go on with it. I've got a few supplies on our list. You might want to collect those. And today we are going to be making these adorable jar lid flowers. I particularly like this one. We'll explain the process in just a few moments, but let me give you the list of items that you're going to need. You're going to need, obviously, the jar lids or the jar rings, as well as the seal to go in the center of it. You'll need fabric. For this, I have chosen a lot of ribbon and pastel fabrics. Obviously, for this one, which is not my favorite, but it is a good demonstrator, I've used denim as well as a blue bandana as my flower palette. You can see up front I have burlap, I have pastels, I have just all kinds of fabrics here. These are all cottons. I found that cotton would cut well. It also holds its shape pretty well. If you're more into the primitives or the darker neutrals, which I am, then you might like some of these choices. You can see these fabrics are just a little bit more on the primitive side. They're a little bit darker, they're a little bit more of the earth tones, okay? And then we have denim, if you choose. I'm also gonna need some fiber feel. You do not have to use this. I'll explain the purpose of it in just a few moments as we finish our jar ring that I already have in progress here. Okay, so just a few things. Online, these are meant to be very primitive, but from a previous project, I had a lot of pastels and a lot of ribbon already pre-cut. So I always try to use what I have. And so if you'll look at that, I mean, I really think that turned out well. I think that's adorable. I finished the back of it. I'll show you how to do that in a few moments. And then one item, excuse me, that I did not mention that you would probably need if you're going to mount these in a vase or a jar or something like that is a skewer. And then I've simply covered my skewer with ribbon, as you can tell. I do like this one. I probably would go an all solid though, instead of rotating the colors out. On this one, it was just a random selection. There's no method to the madness on this one. It is just whatever went and whatever I had available. Okay, so let's look at what we're gonna need. We're gonna need at least 20, if not more, of these 1 inch by 6 inch, let me separate this, roughly 6 inch pieces of fabric or ribbon. You'll notice that the ribbon has already been pre-cut. This was part of my pre-cut ribbon I had available for my use. This one is a little bit shorter, but it still works because we're gonna trim up our flower at the very end of this process. And this is pretty simple. You're simply going to take your strip of fabric and you're going to double knot it. Now at the end, because cotton does fray, at the end we're going to cut some of that off. And we're going to pull it as tight as we can. Now I do not know if I have enough to finish this or not. I might spread mine out a little bit farther just so that you get an idea. This will take us just a moment. You know, there are so many other uses for this. I've often thought that the center of that flower would be pretty with a picture in it. A grandbaby's picture or something like that. Now, it looks like I didn't bring enough of my red ribbon. So what I'm going to do, let me get this tied, double knot it. I do want to show you one real quick thing. A lot of the ones online were made of burlap, and this is the success I had from burlap. I did not care for it. It frayed, so it was continually fraying. and I have an issue with that. You may find that that's perfectly fine, but it was very difficult to tie as well. There may be another way of attaching them, but with this method, the burlap did not work well. Now I have a lot of red ribbon on this side, so I'm going to smooth that out a little bit there, and we're going to put in some of our red pieces here. The good thing about this is if you don't like your placement, you can easily move these around until you get the placement that you like. There's another little place right here that I've put too many ribbon. Let's put the fabric there. And then I don't believe that one's cut all the way. Now this will be by no means a finished flower. I think we're going to be missing some petals, but that's okay. At least I always tell my crafters when they come in for the Monday night Make It class, I give direction, but you all get to add your artistic flair to it. Now think about things you have at home, shirts, pillowcases, things that you're not using that you could upcycle. I'm all about upcycling and repurposing. As I mentioned, that pink flower, every bit of it was left over. Now I really do need probably about 5 more of these, if not more. So I'm going to space mine out a little bit so I can't see my silver ring. The more you get on there, the better it's going to look. Okay, so there's my ring. I'm going to turn it over to the back, and right now I'm just going to kind of push all the knots towards the bottom. I need to leave that inner space available for our seal. Now, another thing I'm going to do is check I noticed this one is not tight. And then lay that out, and let's start trimming it up a little bit. In this case, I'm going to try to get them similar to my ribbon. As you'll recall, they were shorter. I wish I had brought with me, more of my fabric. I would have a fuller flower to show you. If you're familiar with fabric at all, you'll understand that they have quilting pieces at Walmart and your box stores that are just little squares. They're pre-packaged, pre-priced, about $1. You probably could make one of our jar ring flowers with one of those. Now I'm going to trim just a little bit of my crawling. These are meant to look a little shaggy. And there we go. And we need more. I know that. You know that. You can look at it and tell it needs more. Okay, let's put this to the side. Now, the reason that we have the fiber fill, and if you even have cotton balls, you could probably use cotton balls, but the fiber fill is going to cause a little bit of a poof in the center, and that's what you want. You can leave it flat. I put fiber fill in this, but I didn't put as much, so it's a little bit more flat. So I'm going to be I need to cut out a center. I could have cut out a red center. I just had these extra ones So I'm going to go ahead and use one of the darker ones, and we'll see how that looks. So I'm going to put my jar lid seal face down. In other words, I should be seeing this part, the adhesive part. So I'm going to put a little bit of the fiberfill. In the center, I'm going to be placing my jar ring seal down with the adhesive or the seal part up. And I'm going to place that in the back of my flower. And push. You're going to hear a popping noise. That means that it is sealed and is in place. And there we go. In the center. And you can see it's raised just a little bit there. Okay, now, so if you actually decide to use these as flowers rather than mounting these, you know, consecutively on the wall or in a children's room, that kind of thing, if you're going to actually use these, then you're going to need an extra cutout circle. You can make that in the burlap or your corresponding fabric, and you're going to need your skewer. I did not bring the ribbon for this skewer, but I would go ahead and just with a little bit of glue, glue the top part of your ribbon, and then as soon as you know that it's got a grasp on that ribbon, then I would just twist that down until we get to the very bottom. And you can add another little piece of glue there, a little bit of glue. To get it to stick and make sure that it's actually staying, I put a lot of glue on the inside of this and then took my skewer and laid it on there. And that's what we're gonna do. I have my glue gun. It's oddly placed, but I do have my glue gun. And I mean, I'm putting a lot of glue. We're putting a pool of glue. You can see that. So I'm putting my stick in. I'm even moving that stick around. It'll take a few minutes on this. Now, once we know we've got a firm support here, then we'll start working on the back. Now, all I'm simply going to do on the back is take, I'm going to lay my scissors on that. See if that will hold it in place for me for a minute. Yeah, there we go. All I'm going to do on the burlap is just take a bead of glue, either on the flower, the outside of the flower on the back side, or on here. And I'm just going to center that on there. Popping loose on me. I'm going to take my hot glue. I think I'm going to do my flower. It's a little bit easier, just around the edge of the flower. I'm going to push that stick down again. Now I'm still holding that stick in there because, as I said, I put a lot of glue and it's going to take just a little bit longer to dry. But you can see the back is now clearly covered. Do you have to cover the back? Not necessarily. I think it would look better, especially if you are going to display these different heights, make several of them at different heights in your arrangement. These would be so easy to make as additional decor to a seasonal table, a shower. That would be adorable at a baby's shower in some kind of arranged display. And there we go. Again, needs a little bit more of the red and white, and maybe a ribbon around the bottom of it, but turned out really cute. I hope you'll think about making some of this or some of the other crafts that we provide for you here at the Paris Bourbon County Library. Have a great day. Thank you.